This is Dabu7. I want to share with you here my experience with this dark sky drill, the outcome, and as you can see here, electric crews working outside of Alliant Energy. A part of this drill is they are getting all set up and everything put into place for what they're going to do, playing their role in a drill. But if there was a major component taken out on our grid, this would still be dead in the water. But this facility, located right off the highway, this Alliant Energy, has an area that you can see right here set up with multiple trucks, a little hut, different spools, and as I pull in here, you'll see that there's military set up. There's different federal agencies that are on the scene, different police, different medics, fire crews, emergency management. You can see a bunch of troops situated here in this hangar. Now, it was at this facility that they had practiced basically a terrorist takeover. That's what they had down for their practice, their drill in this region. Now, they did a lot of it behind the gates there, where no one else could see what was really going on, and behind closed doors inside of these facilities. There was some conducted out here in the open, but quite a bit of it back there behind fencing where we could not get to. Now, there was over 30 different locations in this drill, 30 different locations throughout Wisconsin, and several of them were near airports. That stopped me from getting some of the aerial footage that I wanted to get, but all in all, I was able to get good footage of a lot of these locations, and you could see just how widespread the military and the equipment was around the region. From what we had witnessed, very little was done in terms of a massive drill out here at this site, out here in this field. Although they had a lot of stuff set up, and there was the electric company and everything else doing their thing over here, very little in terms of what the military or National Guard could do in that situation. They were just basically going over communications and everything else here at the center. Plus, they were using this Alliant Energy as a main command center for all kinds of different operations, forward operations at different places, which you'll see here shortly. But this is some of the stuff they had on deck. But once again, if a major component, a major part of our grid gets taken out, it will take time for those components to get into this country, and all of this would just have to wait. Now, we headed over to another spot, another facility. This time, it is the Sunnyview Expo Center. It was at this location where we had had an encounter with some individuals, well, one individual that really kind of ruined the whole thing. As you can see here, Red Cross Disaster Relief making their way in. This was at the Expo Center. We parked, we got out, we started to talk to some people and to document what was going on. And a guy came out as I was in the car about to pull around to the other side. He came out, ran right up on the car and said he was a director, put himself on my car, stopping it, asked where I was from, what I was doing there, and I told him I was there to learn as much as possible. And he says, "You know how ridiculous that sounds?" And laughed at me. And I said, "Excuse me?" Well, this guy continues to try to pop off at the mouth, being a smartass, asking why I'm there, and I had to restate, I'm here to learn as much as possible. My city and my town does not have a drill of this nature. I'm coming to gather as much information as I can and relay it to other people so they can be prepared in their towns. And the guy just sat there staring at me. And he basically made it seem like this whole thing is geared toward everybody in their private sector, everybody behind the closed doors. None of the public, even though this is stated to be a public drill, None of the public was partaking in this. It's something that I could not understand and other locals could not understand on why they could not come and gather information and learn from this. The guy was a complete prick. So that is what we encountered at this location as we were wanting to go in, gather information and relay it to you guys, but they just would not allow it. I then move over to another location, which you can see here. It says Fox Valley Technical College Public Safety Training Center. Once again, this whole thing a part of a public event in which apparently they did not want any public taking part in it. So we checked out this area. They had some stuff set up, as you can see in the background there, for the training. And this was sitting next to it. This was a whole compound set up at the training site that they could utilize for such events, but it was not being used whatsoever. The whole time we were there, it looked like everything was going on indoors, and that's been the same for a lot of the facilities we've been to up here in this region. Once again, 30 different locations tied in to this big drill, and this is just another that had stuff going on inside where the public was not invited. Another thing that I noticed is that outside of this drill, there looks to be plenty of military equipment scattered all over the place up here. I think this is off exit 113 off of 41 North. You can't see it from the highway, but as soon as you get off, all four corners off this exit are littered with military equipment. This looks to be a body shop, and what strikes me as odd is I found a very similar situation here very near me. About a mile or two away from the Readiness Center, there was an auto body shop that I used to go to that apparently is loaded down with equipment like you see here. They're not working on all of it like every day. It's almost as like it's a staging area, a massive staging area for a ton of equipment. So this is just another place that I've seen it. Now, you can see this equipment here obviously has the desert looking color, but in another location on the other side of the ramp, there's a bunch of older equipment that looks to be in very good condition. I want to make it clear that in a situation like this, a lights out situation, especially an EMP, this newer stuff could get knocked out just like the rest of the cars and trucks. But see this stuff, this older stuff, it's all of this that is going to be of like gold in this situation, in an EMP situation. If you've seen the movie Amerigeddon, after the lights go out and the EMP hits, this is what they come rolling out in. The older trucks. Okay? So once again, this stuff will be king in a situation like that. Now, outside of this spot, there was another facility. As you can see right here, this is the Oshkosh Defense Center, or Product Training Center South. This was on the other side of the highway from the same exit at this spot. Mind you, the other spot was an auto body place. This place is like a concrete place. I'm not sure if it's a concrete place. Nowhere on any sign does it say concrete, but everywhere are these concrete trucks mixed in back here with the military equipment. As you can see here, heavy hauling military equipment to haul a lot of stuff, and tucked away back here on this side of the highway was all of this. So once again, one of many locations, and you can see all the equipment and all of the cement trucks with them back here in this location. At each location, I found someone which I encountered and asked if we could participate in the drill, in the event. Outside of workers like this that you see here, anyone else that looked to have some authority, as like at the expo center, the director that I spoke to, almost every single person we encountered said that this was not open to any public members, even though this was labeled as a public drill. here in this spot being one of the main areas in terms of this drill, this Alliant Energy here in Fond du Lac. My takeaway from this is that this has been a massive disappointment in terms of trying to learn something and to get educated. We will continue to build on a survival plan to survive a lights out situation, because what this has shown us is that this is not geared on teaching the public anything. I also found out some very important information in terms of the structure of when things break down, how things are going to unfold. This is going to take some legwork by all of you in your own neck of the woods to see exactly how things are planned there, if anything. And you may be hard-pressed to get any info, because locals up here were hard-pressed to get any info unless there was National Guard going door to door doing wellness checks. What we come to find out is that in this situation, dark sky is said to be the last leg of a series of drills that they have been conducting over the years. Now, this is interesting because they're saying over the years, meaning that this has been a culmination of events, and this is the final one, which they never said this before. They said the dark sky after Grid X4, this will be the last leg of this big series of drills. Now, there was contracts held by our government with other countries to hold American citizens if a disaster happened, if the lights went out in this country. I think most of those contracts have 5 years or less, and then they run out, and none of them have been renewed thus far. So the major takeaway that we got out of this is that when the lights go out, especially in a town and a city like this, even during the drill, they didn't have an open door of communication with the public, even though this was labeled a public drill. Then we come to find out that there are a lot of different businesses that have come together and agreed to use refrigerator trucks the moment this happens, and to clean all the shelves and to take all the food to a safe location, one of these hubs that's going to be guarded by the military, and the Salvation Army will be called in. Now pay attention here. The Salvation Army is going to be called in to identify and organize feeding areas for distribution and to serve meals. They will be in charge. Who will get the food? Whoever they choose. This is the outline of the plans that I got up there during this drill, Dark Sky. This is what they're doing at least throughout the Fox Cities, Fond du Lac, and all of Wisconsin when this happens. They also have companies like you've seen the concrete trucks that they're going to be utilizing for other things that they would not say. Now, for this being a public drill, the public got very little information. And it's extremely disappointing, especially the individuals that were at the expo center, or the man that was extremely rude, and everyone else that didn't want to offer us any information in terms of trying to relay it to you guys, to get knowledge, to survive such an event. So the key things here to take away from this is that they have a plan, and it involves their state and federal people, their paid guys. Everyone else is out of the picture. It's disappointing, and it tells us this, that we have got to have our own plan. And you better start working on it ASAP. That's the major takeaway from this, and we will continue to drill on this ourselves. I will continue to put out survival tactic videos. If you've missed the other ones, I've recently covered a power outage situation where we tested a solar power bank with different supplies just to see what kind of consumption you would be facing. It's things like that. You need to put yourself in a lights out situation, which I thought they were going to put the public through that in this. Nope. Not in no way, shape, or form. So the major takeaway is, like I said, they have a plan for when this breaks down to gather the food and to distribute it under armed security in this region. I hope you guys have a plan for your neck of the woods. I'll leave links. I'll continue to update with more. Stay tuned for more. This has been Dabu7.